You're listening to the Empowering Process Podcast with your host, Gail Kraft. Listen as she holds frank discussions around how your purpose, being present, and trusting your power impacts your life. Whether you're an entrepreneur, leader, or developing your vision, you'll find wisdom and insights you can utilize right now. Welcome your host, Gail Kraft.
Welcome, everybody. This is Gail Kraft, host of the Empowering Process Podcast. Welcome again, and I'm so excited to be here with you. Today, we're going to share a little bit about living your values and how that relates to stepping into your purpose, how that relates to hanging on to your power, and how that relates to being present in the moment in order to achieve what it is that you want to achieve. So, when we talk about values, we're talking about those core values that are you alone, right? And maybe you're not living up to your core values. I'll tell you a little story about me and then we'll get into you, right? About when I literally didn't even understand my values. I was working in an organization that had these marvelous objectives, these marvelous values written into their mission statement, on the walls, right? All so beautiful. And yet, the culture of the organization was completely incongruent to what they preached were their values. And I felt so out of sync. I really felt like a step out of time being with them. And no matter what I did or how I did it, it just didn't seem right. It didn't seem right for them. And it didn't seem right for me. It really was one of the most unsatisfying positions I ever had. And I literally usually love what I do. So, so it took me a while after I left that organization and started really seriously doing some self-reflection, right? That I realized that I was out of sync with who they are. And it's no blame. This is who they are. And that's fine. We're all, whether it's an organization or an individual or a relationship, who you are, what you create is all okay. It doesn't mean it's going to align with who I am and what's important to me. But I had to understand what that was. I thought I knew what it was, right? And we all have, um, truth, trust, love, blah, 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 right? And it was not until I elicited my core values that I understood what they are. So more about that later. I want to talk about what are the indicators that you're out of balance with your values, right? Um, One is that you're living in a supposed to environment and it's not your dream, right? So you're living values that maybe your parents gave you, or maybe a religious upbringing gave you, or maybe society gave you, or maybe the company you're working for gave you, or maybe your significant other gave you, but they're not yours, right? And you feel a little bit like a fraud, right? Because things just aren't. You're taking the steps because you're supposed to take the steps, but you could care less if you took the steps, right? Right? When you're stuck in this kind of supposed to situation, sometimes we're afraid to step out, take a little side step on our own. And so I'm asking you, if you're in a supposed to situation, to step out, list out what those values are that you're living up to, and one by one, see if any of them resonate with you. If none of them do, then you need to do the work to find your own. If some of them do, at least hang on to those, right? One or two, hang on to those as you go through the journey of finding your own. Work with a great coach, they can help you for sure. Or maybe you're feeling trapped. So many of us get into situations. I know I have been in relationships where I felt trapped, for sure. I've been in companies where I felt trapped. I've been in situations where I felt trapped and there was no way to go out. And every single time, right, I allowed myself to get into those situations for reasons that were not congruent at all with my values. And so I, eyes wide open, not so much, walked in. And so now that I know my core values, and once you know your core values, before you walk in, you want to check, do a little check, your top 5, not all of your core values, your top 5, force rank them, right? If you're not meeting my top 5, then I have to say I'm not walking in, just not going there. It's not going to work. So thank you for the offer. No, thank you. Right. I have said no to clients. Thank you for the offer. No, thank you. I have said no to opportunities others might have jumped at, because I've learned that when I say yes, because it looks like a great opportunity, but it doesn't line up with my core values, it doesn't work, right? Because we're not on the same page, right? So think about, do you know your core values? And that's the third thing. Some people don't even know what their core values are. They think they do, right? But when they go through identifying them, they might be a little surprised. I know that there is a process to elicit your core values. When I've gone through that process with clients, it's a long process. It's a very painful process, but it's an enlightening process on so many levels. When we are done with the process, 100% of the time, they're surprised at what they have discovered about who they are and what's important to them. But when we look back at what has not worked on their life, they realize that, whoa, right? If I knew then what I know now, I would not have made that choice. And that's the point. We want to make conscious choices. We want to be sure that when we step into something new, something different, when we want to take a risk, that there is a chance of success because it aligns with who I am. It's all about knowing who you are, right? If you know who you are, you know your purpose, right? If you know who you are, you know how to step into your power. When you know who you are, you know how to be present in the moment. And when you have those 3 things at any given moment, you have success, and whatever success means for you, right? What success means for you is not what success means for me. That's another thing you find out with your core values. So, for example, back to me, my top core values. I never would have put the first 2 ever on the list without going through the process of eliciting who I am. Number 1 is community. I need to know that I have a community of people that every once in a while I can tap into, I can see once in a while, that I can joke around with. That's my community. Then I have my tribe. And those are the people who have the same core values as me, similar core values. And we don't all have the same, but really what's important in life, they know who they are and they're not afraid of who they are. And they're willing to take who they are to the next level, and then the next level, and then the next level. They're willing to test their boundaries. They're learning, they're growing, they're becoming. That's so important to me. So the top 1 is really community. The second one is tribe. Then it's love. Then it's authenticity. And then it's truth. Very important. Truth, authenticity, love, tribe, community. Never would have said, maybe authenticity and truth, I would have said, because truth I know is who I am. But the others would never have come up without going through the process of bringing out who I am. So bring out who you are. Don't be afraid of who you are. You're marvelous. There's no one in this world like you. You are a snowflake. And if you need help, let me know. I would love to help elicit core values for any of you. And if some of this helped or resonates or makes sense with you, share it out. Share the wealth. I would love, make a comment, right? Subscribe so that you don't miss the next episode. There's so much more, right? And I can't wait for the Ask Me Anything segment. You're going to love the Ask Me Anything segment. Guys, you're going to love the interview segments when people that I know who have actually applied the purpose, the power, the presence in their life and how their lives flourish. Love to hear their stories, and I'll be sharing that with you too. Everybody, the empowering process, Gail Kraft. Have a wonderful day, and we will be talking again soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Empowering Process Podcast. Be sure to visit Gail at gailkraft.com to learn more about how she serves thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and goal seekers. And remember, if you like this broadcast, be sure to share and subscribe so you don't miss an episode.